Guys, I seriously love this Bulls team. Have I said that enough this season? Like, can we just say how good it is to finally, after all of these years, actually have a fun and exciting team to watch again, and a team that doesn't give up, fights through adversity, no matter who's on the court. You even have guys like LaVine playing through illnesses. Caruso was hurting and probably shouldn't have even played tonight, but he played anyway until Bulls staff said, nah, you need to sit, and ended up only playing for 8 minutes, but still managed to knock down 2 threes while he was wincing in pain. Like, we haven't seen a Bulls team like this with this much heart and passion since the early Rose era days. And it just makes me so excited as a fan. And after beating the best team in the East in tonight's game, the Bulls are now just a half a game back from the top spot in the East. Where are all those haters who were saying this team wasn't even going to make the play-in? Let us know when you come out of hiding. Anyway, let's talk about this game, shall we? So what's going on, everyone? You were listening to Bull Central here. Hope you're all doing well. Guys, be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. I'll be covering this fun Bulls team all season long, so whether you're an old school, long-time Bulls fan, or you're jumping on the bandwagon for the first time, hit that subscribe button. You don't want to miss out. But anyway, you know, I think the thing that was the most impressive aspect of this game tonight, well, there were quite a few things, and I'll talk about them in a little bit, but going into this game, the Bulls knew they had just lost another player due to the health and safety protocol in Javonte Green, who has really been their starting power forward with Patrick Williams being out for the season. And to have this happen shortly after Kobe White enters the health and safety protocol, so that's a big blow that you're not anticipating going into this game. And then the guy who has been such an important glue guy to this team, he comes in place for a bit, but then has to be out the rest of the game. The Bulls end up falling behind to the start the third quarter by double digits, but yet this team shows what they do best yet again by being one of the best teams in the fourth quarter, led by none other than the king of the fourth himself in DeMar DeRozan. DeRozan had 13 points in the fourth quarter alone. He finished the game with 29 points in total, again on great efficiency. Honestly, sometimes I'm just dumbfounded with how some of his shots go in. Like, he does these insane pump fakes, and when he's being well guarded, he's got a man in his face, sometimes even double teamed, and he puts up these high arcing shots that somehow still go down. Now, what was crazy tonight was that DeRozan didn't do what he does best tonight in getting to the foul line. He actually only took 4 free throws for the whole game, whereas Zach LaVine, who we have been talking about needing to draw more contact and getting to the line, he was incredibly aggressive in driving to the basket and getting guys to bite on his pump fakes. He took 13 free throws tonight, which helped propel him to his great performance in not only scoring 31 points, but also pulling down 8 rebounds and 6 assists and 0 turnovers. Anytime Zach has a game in which he walks away with 0 turnovers is amazing, because of his usage and the fact that last season he was averaging over 3 turnovers per game. To see him playing smarter basketball and taking care of the ball is such an encouraging sign if you're a Bulls fan. You know, I know that we have been praising DeRozan a lot recently, which rightfully so. The guy has been playing at a near MVP level, and I don't want you guys to think I'm taking away from all the great work that Zach has been putting in, especially since he's not even really doing it playing fully healthy with that thumb injury. Most recently, he's been playing through a flu. But listen, as good as DeRozan has been, this team doesn't reach anywhere close to the level of success and the record they have without LaVine playing the way he has been. Yes, we sometimes get frustrated with his decision-making and his hero ball antics late in games, but he's still a star-level player and deserves to be recognized as such. Now, another guy I want to call out before getting into the bench is Lonzo Ball, because yes, Lonzo missed some big threes late in the game, which the Bulls really could have used, similar to the game against the Knicks, but he hit that absolute dagger of a 3. You know, he was wide open to put the Bulls up 5, which I believe with about 16 seconds left to go or so. And at that point, the Bulls, they had it locked up. For all the misses tonight, he hit the biggest shot of the game when it mattered. Now, despite his not so great shooting tonight, where Lonzo excelled was, of course, what he's been doing so well this season, was on the defensive end and absolutely locking down one of the best scorers in the game in James Harden, holding him to 14 points on 5 for 21 shooting. And that's the second time that he's done this, in which the Bulls first faced off against the Nets in Chicago, and he held Harden to similar numbers. And of course, the Bulls won that game as well. Like, that is what makes Lonzo's game so underrated, is how impactful he is on the defensive end. Same with Caruso. You know, for all the people saying, well, Lonzo doesn't score enough, or he isn't putting up the type of passing numbers you would expect to see from a point guard, even though he had 7 assists tonight, what makes him so critical to this team is being able to shut down guys like Harden or LaMelo Ball or Luka Doncic that we have seen so far this season and have led the Bulls to wins. Lonzo finished the game with 8 points, 9 rebounds, and 7 assists to go along with his 3 blocks and 2 steals. Also, it should be noted that Caruso, who leads the league in steals, still managed to get a steal in this game in the 8 minutes that he played tonight. Now let's talk about the bench mob, which I'm sure you guys know by now, quick plug, but I have partnered with benchmob.com. Yes, the bench mob is back, so show your support for the bench mob by getting some of their gear. If you use my code BullCentral20, all one word, you will get 20% off your order. The link to the site and the code can be found in the description. Let me know what gear you guys pick up in the comments. I've got a couple of shirts and bracelets myself. It's great stuff, so feel free to check it out and get a discount off your order. But anyway, 2 guys I really want to call out tonight from the bench, and that's Derrick Jones Jr. and Dosunmu. Both players who stepped up in big ways, with both Javonte Green being out and Caruso, who had to leave the game. Let me start with Derrick Jones Jr. because I feel like this guy doesn't get enough credit for his effort defensively. Because let's be real, no one can guard Kevin Durant effectively, like even some of the best defenders in the league. And Derrick Jones Jr. wasn't always on KD tonight, but he was all over the floor and in the paint and on defense, getting 4 blocks, and he was doing an excellent job at deflecting passes in the paint, disrupting the flow of offense, and was just all around a solid rim protector in this one. Like, for a guy who was only 6'5" and going against the likes of KD, LaMarcus Aldridge, Paul Millsap, that is phenomenal. And it's one of the reasons I still can't believe this front office finesse their way to not only land Derrick Jones Jr. in the sign and trade for Lauri Markkanen, but also in landing them a first-round pick in addition to Jones Jr. It just baffles me. And then, of course, we can't forget Dosunmu. You know, a lot of people have been saying we're being a bit too biased towards this kid because he's a Chicago native. He's good, but not as good as we prop him up to be. And for a while, I tended to agree with that sentiment. Like, I even myself recognize that we're kind of being biased because he's a Chicago native. But honestly, the more I see this guy play, and the more opportunity he's been given now that Kobe is out again, and of course Caruso was out most of this game, he just continues to step up in big ways for this team. And it's because the dude is fearless and plays with immense amount of confidence, but immense confidence with self-awareness, unlike someone like Denzel Valentine. And that is so important when it comes to playing smart basketball. Like, Ayo closed out the game tonight. That's how much Billy Donovan trusts him, a rookie guard to close out the game with the starters. Yes, he still makes rookie mistakes here and there. That's going to happen. He'll learn from those mistakes as he goes on throughout his career, but the kid plays tough. He hustles, he pushes himself, and he does it on both ends of the floor. Ayo finished the game with 11 big points on 5 for 6 shooting and 2 blocks. And he was locking guys down on defense as well, which, you know, things like that don't show up in the stat sheet, which is why you have to call him out, just like we did with Lonzo in locking down James Harden tonight. Anyway, this was such a big win for the Bulls because after having the kind of down week that they had last week, in which they had some bad losses, they come in and beat a good Hornets team at home, and then head over to New York and sweep both the Knicks and the Nets to close out the week 3-0. Of course, I ended up being wrong again. I thought the Bulls would go 2-1, losing tonight's game. But this Bulls team has been fighting, and of course, you have to give a ton of credit to DeRozan and LaVine, who have been coming up big in the clutch for them, particularly DeRozan. The Bulls will head back home for an off day tomorrow before they take on the Nuggets on Monday, which will be interesting because the Nuggets are pretty banged up right now. However, Jokic, who wasn't playing in the first time these two teams met, will likely be in this game, which will make it for a tough matchup for Vucevic. I'll have my weekly preview video out on Monday morning discussing the games for the upcoming week, so be on the lookout for that. And guys, as always, be sure to subscribe if you're a Bulls fan, as I do post daily Bulls content. Thanks again for tuning in, guys, and I will catch you in the next one.